And my road to LCU, or how did God go about getting me here? First of all, anybody who knows me knows that I love this place. I can see that picture and think about what we do and what we do on a daily basis. And no matter what we've been through, whatever it took to get us here, we're here, and we hopefully have been able to make differences in the lives of our students and in our lives of ourselves and our peers. And so it's a beautiful place, and I could not have asked to be anywhere any better than where I am right now. But now then, let's get back a little bit to how did I actually get here. I grew up as the youngest in a family. This is a picture of me.
You're still that same size.
Yes. They grew up and I didn't. The young man graduating from high school is my one and only brother. There's 15 years between us. The young man in the middle is one of my 5 cousins. And this happened to be on Gordon's graduation from high school. And even then, I really kind of thought that I was the teacher and in charge. And how was I going to get them to mind me and do what I wanted them to do? I didn't get that to happen very often, though, with a brother who is graduating from high school, as you can imagine. Now, I've been on lots of buses. And my education started in Wichita Falls, where I was born and lived until I was 14. While I was in Wichita Falls, I attended Crockett Elementary School. Yes, Davy Crockett was the man. Elementary school then went through the 7th grade. So I was in elementary school a long time. From there, I went to junior high. The very first thing my brother said I had to learn was how to spell the junior high's name, Zundelowitz. Zundelowitz Junior High, Zundelowitz. Short, Zundy. And I had the privilege of being in junior high for 1 whole year. We moved from Wichita Falls to Lubbock. During that year, I got here in the 8th grade, and 8th grade was the last year for junior high. So I literally had junior high for 1 year, and here I went to J.T. Hutchinson, which was a wonderful experience, trying to be a new 14-year-old in a new town, new school. Everybody already knows everybody. From there, I went to Monterey High School, where I graduated, and loved my time at Monterey. Monterey was a wonderful place to be, and I feel like I really got a very good education. I was in the honors program for 1 year and realized how hard it was and decided I didn't want to do that anymore. My senior year, I really wanted to have fun. So forget honors. Let me go about my business. And so that's pretty much what I did. Now, while I was in my senior year, though, one of the things I did was take typewriting. And little did I know that this, and that's the kind of typewriter I learned on, was going to make such a big difference in my life. A big difference in my life. Now, the buses have changed. And my seat on the bus has changed several times. I have even changed buses several times since then. Remember my graphics here. Once I graduated from Monterey, I went to ACC then for a semester and found out that it wasn't Utopia. Surprise. And decided I would come home. And I came home, went to Tech. That is where I actually met Terry. We met at the Bible Chair. We were in Tech Singers together and sang with the Broadway Wedding Chorus. And within less than a year, we're married and off to the Army. And the Army takes us to Massachusetts on another kind of bus, which was an interesting experience for newlyweds. During that time, I also found that my dad was dying of cancer, and he spent a year and a half in and out of the hospitals and trying to beat that game, but was not successful. But was a very good inspiration to all of us as he did that. Once we finished with the Army, obviously I was nowhere where I could take any more courses. I, at that point, had about 60 hours. And we came back to Texas. We raised our family. I was a stay-home mom, a homemaker, and by choice. And when the kids all got in school, decided, well, it may be time to get out there and maybe earn some money yourself. You're going to have kids going to school and college. And so I made that bold trip to LCC. And my very first job was that one. My very first job was that of being the secretary in the education department. I'm going to go backwards a minute. Now, I showed you the typewriter I learned on. Because I learned that, I got this job. If I had not spent that one semester learning how to type, I would not have been hired. And I'm saying that's by God. I see God's hand in so many things. But that wonderful IBM Selectric typewriter was during a time that most of you don't even remember anymore. You sure don't remember this typewriter. This one, at least, all you had to do is punch your finger and it would move for you. But during the time that I was the secretary, the department, 3 faculty members and myself, decided that they wanted to go for NCATE accreditation. And guess who got to type all that on this Selectric 2 typewriter, which was self-correcting, which was a wonderful thing because this document became, I have a copy of it still. In fact, I tried to find it a while ago, and I've buried it deep. It was at least, 500 pages. And the thing that well, it probably was. It was at least that was typed on this thing. And it was like 2 days before we had to make all the copies, and Dr. Kesselman came in and said, now, I'm going to sit here with you. And I thought, oh, great. Because I need to add 1 page at about page number 400. What does that mean? I get to renumber all of the pages after 100, or 400. So he sits there and hands me one, put it in, mark it out, put in the new page number. Wonderful experience to prepare me for this wonderful technology. This fantastic Mac Classic is what I typed my dissertation on, which ended up being nearly 400 pages, as I did a qualitative study. And I kept that thing for a very long time, hoping that maybe it would be worth something, as museums would be wanting it before too long. But that didn't happen either. So I finally, when we made a move just recently, gave that up. What I did for that dissertation was work with our students. We wanted to know, how did the students feel about all these field experiences that we had them doing? And so I decided I wanted to look into their perceptions of what a teacher is and have these field experiences done me any good. It was very interesting when I went in after I had gathered a good bit of the data and had a preliminary idea in my mind about where I was headed. I went into my major professor and I said, I think you'll be interested to know that every one of them said that before I can teach them anything, I have to be their caregiver. And he looked at me and said, no, you must be their educator. And I'm going, get a life, friend, because until they know you care, they don't care what you know. And so that was one of the big pieces that we found out, and have found that to be the case ever since then, that it's not so much what, it's how you go about teaching them. Now, once I got past that, and I was here actually working already, had been hired back. I guess I'll regress a little. After I finished my degree here, I did go into teaching, and I went to Lubbock Christian School and taught for 3 years and loved it, but I didn't feel like I was where I needed to be. And so I made an appointment and interviewed with LISD. And in the interview, I said the main thing is that I want to be in a low socioeconomic school. I want to be someplace where I can be helpful. And I got my wish. I was interviewed then by the principal at Tubbs Elementary, went there, was there for 4 years, and loved every bit of it. What a wonderful experience for me to work with children who really struggle, and lives that are really, really difficult. And not only that, I also had the other end. It was a magnet school, so I had children that were bused in for the gifted program, and I had an opportunity to work with them too. And in all of these places then are all these different hats. I'm a believer in hats, and I wear a lot of them. I brought a few of them with me today. Some of you have seen me in this hat before. This is my Martha Washington hat, which I choose to wear from time to time. I go into kindergarten, first grade, second grade, even 7th and 8th grade, dressed as Martha Washington in her work clothes, and share with them about her life, and the fact that she was this tall also, which is the best part of that. Married a 6'2" man who dwarfed her, but she loved education, she loved teaching, and I love telling about Martha. And I also love telling my very, very favorite story, and that is who? Johnny Appleseed. I didn't find, I can't believe I don't have a single slide of me as Johnny, but you can't miss out, so I'm going to send the pictures around. I go into 2nd grade and 4th grade classrooms, because those are the areas that they work with him mostly, learning about tall tales, but then in 4th grade learning the genre and being able to write their own tall tales. And so that has been a fun thing. The most unique, probably though, is when I didn't choose to be George, but I had a student call me and say, "Would you please come in and be Christopher Columbus for my class?" And I'm saying, Christopher Columbus? Number one, he's a man. Number two, he was 6'4", and I don't think I'm going to be real believable as Christopher Columbus. "Oh, yes, you'll do a great job." So I decide I will go. And I was Christopher Columbus for a day with a group of kids. And that, again, was fun. It's fun to be able to put on different hats to work with kids, but also a lot of different hats here. And you know some of those hats. This hat has been an honor for me for a long time, to be able to be one of the marshals at commencement, and I will do that for the last time this coming commencement in May. This is where I thought a while ago, I missed a slide, and that is that I actually taught many of you a new word. I was chair of the Academic Protocol Committee when we came up with the idea that we needed to have nice gonfalons. I'm so proud of you. You remember. We needed gonfalons for our academic events. And so during that time, we were able to get a grant from the associates, and they are the ones that we owe a big thank you to for the gonfalons that we still use in commencement, and also for the mace that Dr. Blackwood so excitingly gets to carry with him. So that's one of my hats. I love this hat too. We are a member of a group that of sister institutions, the education programs in those, and we meet once a year. And one year, in fact, 2 or 3 years now, we have had them on campus. In the time before last, one of the things we did was take them out to the Ranching Heritage Center. And we wanted to be sure that we shared with them some of our heritage. So sometimes I put that hat on. You may see me in it on Friday. One of my favorite hats, though, is this one. It's not exactly a hat, but those of you, if I find out that you are celebrating a very special birthday, like number 40 or number 50 or number 60, I come. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Sickness, sorrow. I won't go any further. I would not want you to miss that hat. I have had fun wearing that hat. And there's my Johnny Appleseed. I love going in and helping children learn about good character and what they need to do to be people of good character. And there I am as Martha. Martha and I have, again, been many places. Christopher, I mentioned to you. Watch out, because who knows what I might do once I get on that Santa Maria. But then, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. And that's what we think that we have to do with kids, is give them all the same exam. Have you heard that lately? I would love it if we would finally figure out they don't all need the same exam. They need to be taught in different ways. This is, we have our teacher cadet corps that comes on campus, 4th and 5th graders, where we train them how to be tutors for 1st and 2nd graders. Giving them a different hat and not climbing the same tree, but helping them help others. And being able to go into classrooms with those children who need that extra special attention and need somebody to come in and show some interest in them. I had the opportunity, 2 years ago, to actually go in and teach for an hour for Jennifer Harden, who is our newest faculty member. Teach her class for her while she was teaching a class for us. And it was a really good experience for me to see that, yes, they do take children who have special needs and to help them, but why are they helping them? Because they want them to excel? I'm so sorry, but so much of it is because they need for them to pass that test. And so there we are back to that test again. And then I cannot not mention my husband, who has always been there for me and has encouraged me and helped me with a variety of things. Another hat that I wear. But sometimes I can look professional. I don't always have to be with pans on my head. This is a picture of me with our son, Kenneth, and his most favorite teacher in the whole world, Nettie Edwards. And if you never had a chance to know Nettie, she is still alive. She was actually at the dinner the other night. She was Kenneth's 3rd grade teacher. And since that time became a principal. She has taught for us as an adjunct, is a wonderful lady. An opportunity to be with her and to surround myself with people that are interested in education and want the best for everybody. And then, most recently, becoming an officer in the PDK chapter here in Lubbock. I'd encourage any of you who are interested to check with David. He is the president at the moment and would be glad to talk to you about becoming a member. So another hat that I have been able to use because of the opportunities I've had here. A female president would only be a good idea if you wanted the country run right for some reason. I've thought about it. I haven't tried it. Maybe it's time. If I'm retiring, I should be able to take on new challenges, right? Well, I thought about it briefly, and then remembered that, what I really want to do is travel. What I really want to do is see lighthouses. My most favorite thing probably in the world is to see lighthouses. The only thing next to that is I'm animated, right? I raised an animated son. And one of the things I look forward to in retirement is to be able to make all of his football games and track events that we possibly can. The world only needs to know what they're in for as I come down the road. Thank you very much. I don't know if you have questions. I think you do have questions.
I'll start. Jean, do you remember the title of your dissertation?
So I wrote it down because, I started out like everybody does saying, I am not going to have a long title. I'm going to have a 3-word title. And I started with the 3-word title of Elementary Pre-Service Teachers. But it actually ended up being Elementary Pre-Service Teachers' Perceptions of the Value of Their Field-Based Experiences. And what I did was actually use role theory to look at the achieved role of teacher. And I say, the achieved status of teacher. It's hard to get clear that teaching or being a teacher is a status. And in that status, you have various roles. And that's what I was looking for, to see what roles they actually perceived as they were actually out there teaching. And oh my goodness, I got a list a mile long, but was able really to get it down to 4. I don't remember all 4. Maybe I'll remember some of them. The first of them is caregiver. They said you have to be a caregiver first, and that meant you're the mother, the daddy, the nurse, the security blanket, the counselor. You do all those things that let them know that you care. And then you are the educator. You do need to have the knowledge. They realized how important it was that they have the background knowledge that they could actually go in and do a very good job teaching those kids. They needed to be classroom managers, and that included a whole lot of things, all the way from not being the sage on the stage, but being the guide on the side, which we talk about quite a bit. But the things that they were going to have to do to get that room and those students ready to actually be able to learn. And then looking at their role as a peer, being with their peers and performing and making a difference in their profession, which was an important piece for them to do too. Okay.
And I'll ask one more before I turn it out to the field. Because you have seen the university through so many different roles, what would you consider to be one of the greatest achievements on the academic side of the university in your time here, and then maybe an achievement of the university on the non-academic side?
Oh, wow. Biggest achievement on the academic side since I've been here. I think we have really realized how important it is that our faculty are really well trained, and that we do have a good number that do have doctorates. When I first came, we did have quite a few, but not to the number that we do now. And even though I am not a researcher, I would enjoy doing it, I just have not chosen that path and I haven't had time. I think it's really important that I have seen the growth in that. And I have seen that we have people on campus now who are involved in research and have our students actively involved. I, at the same time, am going to say that I hope we never become all research, because we are well known for putting people out who can go out and handle their jobs, whatever it is. And that's the practical aspect. And so I feel very strongly that there's got to be a balance. But I do see that that's probably, academically, probably the biggest thing I have seen happen, which I think is great. Otherwise, your other part of your question, the non-academic side, well, two areas that are my loves, and that is music, fine arts, and the fact that we have really been able to excel in those, and that we have people that are really coming and realizing what we have to offer here. One of those best kept secrets for a while, and I think we're beginning to get the point across. I know with Cinderella this year, all of a sudden we were blown away. I know Lori was, with the participation and the people that came, and obviously athletics. I'm a big proponent of athletics. I think there has got to be a place for people to learn how to work together. And I think that's what athletics does. And I think we have excelled in that too. What I like is that I don't see any area on our campus that is not excelling, that is not moving in the right direction. I don't think we have a weak link. I don't know of one. And a lot of that is due to Dr. Jones and his leadership. And that's important, that you've got a person at the helm that really knows how to get things done. But it also has to do with all the other people that are out there doing it. You've got to have dedication to this place. It's got to be more than a job. And I think that's a very big piece for me. It is.
Someone else?
Yes, sir.
Why did you attend Abilene Christian instead of here?
Do you know that it's so funny? My whole life, that's where I was going. It was never even a discussion. There was never a discussion about going to Tech, about going to Harding, about going to anywhere. From Wichita Falls, which is where I grew up, most everybody went to ACU. And so even when I moved here, some of my best friends from there were going to ACC, excuse me. And it never entered my mind to go anywhere else. And again, it was a matter of, once I got there, I guess I had just blown it up in my mind that it was just going to be phenomenal. And it is a wonderful place. Don't misunderstand. It just didn't fit me, or I didn't fit it. So, I knew that LCU had begun because I graduated from high school in '60. So it was still very young. I was even here, as a best friend of mine told me, we were here for the groundbreaking. I actually stood out there and watched Norval Young and Brother Maddox break the ground. But it never was in I never thought about it. And probably just because I had my mind set what I was going to do.
What does PDK stand for?
That is exactly what I was going to ask.
Phi Delta Kappa is an international fraternity for educators. We have had a chapter in Lubbock for many, many years. Years and years ago, it was the Texas Tech chapter. And they were pretty much in control of it. And then all of a sudden they started having more and more people. When it originated, it was only men. And you had to be university faculty to even be a member. Long story, but now it is open, obviously, to men and women, and it is open to any educator. A few years ago, they even opened it up to your student teachers, trying to get them actively involved. People are not joiners like they used to be, and we really struggle. There were a few years that it actually was dormant. We didn't even have meetings, didn't have anything going on, and ended up that several got back together and said we want it started again. It was the Texas Tech chapter. It is now the Llano Estacada, Texas chapter. And a good bit of that is due to Dr. Gonzalo Ramirez, who was president back during that time. And he said, you know, it's not a tech thing anymore. We've got LCU and we've got Wayland and we've got all these people from it. It needs to be something that is more about the community. And so it's the Llano Estacada, Texas chapter.
Someone else?
You mentioned you have a new faculty member coming on, and that your time in this area has spanned from the groundbreaking till now.
Yeah.
We do have a new president coming on and new faculty here and there. What would you say as we kind of move into what's maybe kind of new era? What would you say to the younger faculty and maybe advice to new faculty about their role here? You said a moment ago, you have to love this place. It's more than a job.
You have to buy into it. You have to say, I am a member of this family. And I know we're bigger, and I know it's hard, and I don't get out of my little building and my little cubby very often. But we have got to somehow feel that kinship, because we're all here for the same reason. And that is to educate people in a Christian atmosphere to go out in the world and make a difference. And we all are doing that, and we all should be, and we all should be supporting each other. And I guess what I really want to say to new people, support each other. Not just in your area, but everywhere. If somebody's having something special, go to it. If you can send a thank you note or a congratulations note, do it. Our new person coming in is Jennifer Harden. And most of you probably know her. It's Mike's wife. She has been an adjunct for us in the past, and will do an exceptional job. And she comes in with a love for it. Tim Perrin, the thing that I remember about Tim is we were neighbors. We were just around the corner from them when he was growing up, and our son was growing up. And Kenneth reminded me the other day, said, don't you remember when we were playing Little League, Tim was pitching and I was batting, and he hit me in the head and knocked me down? And I said, Tim Perrin knocked you down? I'm going to have a word with him. But he said, you know what? Tim was the first one to me after he hit me to check and be sure I was okay. I think Tim is going to be a phenomenal leader. And I think he will have the ability to take us steps further and further than maybe we've even dreamed of going. I anticipate that. And so I want to encourage you all that are still going to be here full time, that you take advantage of his enthusiasm and his excitement and his desire, because he is coming already with the love. You know, that doesn't have to be built for him. But new people coming in that maybe didn't go to school here or have had no background with it, that has to be developed, and that can be developed with your help, to help them to see that we truly are a family. Don't ever get so big in your mind that you're not family, because you can be family and have 20,000 people. It's a big family. I'm from a teeny tiny little family. So I feel just really at home in our family.
Someone else?
Okay.
Dr. Williams, would you like to share your best memory of Dr. Hines?
Oh dear. Don and I do have a few memories.
Just so that we maintain neutrality.
I figured you were going to tell about when I was sponsoring LOA and there was a rodeo going on, and I came in a little late, and over the PA system he says, well,
It's when we had Western Day.
Yes.
Talking about.
Uh,
We
Mm-hmm.
used to, in the fall of the year,
Uh-huh.
Western Day during pledging.
Yes.
And so all of the pledges participated in what they thought were gonna be very simple events. When they signed them up for shoot dogging and they saw those 8-month-old calves, they were all in a state of shock that a calf that big was
Yeah.
not 10 years old.
And yeah, and catching greased pigs.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And
actually,
Yeah.
I would have probably gone more toward the Gene the dancing
That's the one
machine.
I was thinking of.
That we played that game with you when you were downstairs, both as the administrative assistant and then when you were a student, as you recall. When you came upstairs, we were always very pleased to. For those of you who don't know, we officed in the ed building. You had comm and foreign language upstairs, and we had a number of interesting activities going on. June and I managed to keep things lively up there.
oh yeah. But and that's where I was headed with my story, because the first time I remember you saying that, calling me that, was at that
Yeah.
Western Day, and you have the microphone. Well,
It hit me that day.
Gene, the dancing machine has finally arrived. We can continue. I'm going, thank you.
And that one worked out very nicely.
So I've been JJDM to a lot of people. You'll know whenever I send you an email and it is signed that way instead of my name that things are good.
I have a memory. When I first was teaching here and didn't have my PhD yet, I was gonna be walking very soon, and we were doing photos of our department, and I didn't have any regalia. And my very first thought was, if I call Jean, I'm absolutely certain that that stuff won't be too long for me, which was my fear. With everyone else, if I wanted to borrow some regalia, we were so close in height.
Yes.
And you were like, yes, absolutely, take it.
Yes.
So I just put everything on that you gave me. I ended up wearing a dean's medallion in those pictures. I didn't even have a PhD yet, okay? And Jean was like, you wore the medallion? I'm like, what is it? It's a dean's medallion. I was like, well, I look really way more cool than I actually really did in those pictures.
You know, we need to write these things down. I don't remember some of the things after a while.
That is true. I worked for you, remember that? When I was a teenager?
Yes.
The mall?
Yes. I didn't tell that part of the story, did I? We had a little girl's dress shop
Back in the day.
in the day.
Yeah, it was called Today's Girl.
Today's girl.
And you hired me to work there
Yeah.
because we knew each other from school.
That goes back. Needless to say, I did not stay in retail, if you haven't figured that part out. We opened up the store when they expanded the mall and added Sears. They added that wing, and Sears was supposed to be opening for back to school. And so we got our shop all ready to go and got our merchandise in, and Sears was 6 more months before they ever opened. They didn't open until after Christmas. And we had already had to go through 2 sets of inventory because clothes don't wait, you know. And so we didn't have any real traffic. There was nobody coming there. But that didn't matter to the mall, you know, you still paid the full rent. We made it about 1.5 years and finally said, oh, we've got a hole that's going to be too hard to get out of if we don't do something. But it was fun. There was a plan.
Experience in
And
retail.
yeah, and God said, this is not what I had in mind for you.
Did you follow Laird, or were you before her as the administrative assistant? Carol Laird.
No, I followed Meg Resnick. Resnick?
Yeah.
Isn't that her name?
Right.
Yeah, that's who I came in behind. I had the distinct honor of having the longest tenure as secretary until maybe it's going to be, if we consider her the secretary, Rhonda. I don't know how long Rhonda's been here now. I was secretary for 4 years. She does, doesn't she? Well, shoot. There's another one of mine.
Well, you didn't
You
mention
could go
that.
back and do it for a couple of years.
There's your retirement.
Well, maybe.
Well, thanks, Jean, it was great.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking me.